We have a Quincy Patriot Ledger paperboys, because they would have all been paperboys back in the 1950s and the 1960s, delivery bag. So the paper deliverer would have a whole route full of newspapers in the bag, and he would have slung it over his shoulder and probably gotten on his bicycle and gone around from house to house and building to building to put the papers on people's doorsteps. Would have been done in the middle of the afternoon. It was great for us to have because the Historical Society, a lot of people think the Historical Society we're only interested in stuff that happened to John Adams or the Pilgrims or people out of, and that's not true. I mean, our goal at the Historical Society is to cover all of Quincy histories, and particularly right now we're very interested in the history of the 20th century, because that really needs to be collected and preserved. So things that come from real life in Quincy in the 1900s, early 1900s, right up through the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, we're really delighted to get. So getting an artifact of the Quincy Patriot Ledger is a real fun for us.
I mean, it meant a lot to people in that era, the paper. Everybody got it, And also, who knows how long we'll have papers being delivered, like they are
That's
now.
true. Yeah. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, but it's true. I mean, my aunts, that was what my aunts did, was they sat in the living room with the ledger and read the ledger every night. And it really was part of the glue that kind of held Quincy together in the 50s and the 60s and earlier. It would be kind of a first job, because you could do it before you were, I think you could do it before you were the 16-year-olds old. That would, for a real working kind of job or a 9-to-5 summer job. And yeah, it would have been an after-school gig. And it gave you, I think for a lot of guys, it gave you kind of a little bit of walking around money, basically. And it moved you. I mean, you moved through the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think a lot of them appreciated that some of the customers really liked them and would give them cookies or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure,
and really were happy to see them. And then they kind of had a fraternity among themselves. And
give a fair shot to everything. But I mean, it's good to have stuff that people really use. And I think the other thing people think is that we want that the really important stuff are things like commemorative plates or things that were given at plaques and things like that. And those have their place. But what you really want is the documents and the objects that people really lived with, because that's how you know what the history of the time really is. So this is great. A few years ago, somebody brought in I guess her father or grandfather had been a bus driver before the MBTA. There was what was known as the Eastern Massachusetts Street Railway Company. So he was a driver on that. So he had his bus driver's cap, with the badge and everything, and those are great. The actual worker stuff from Fort River that we can still get from time to time is great to have.